Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Heather if you're new here. I recently just moved to Tennessee, as most of you guys know. Moved here to live closer to my best friend, and I got an apartment right next door to hers. In my new apartment, I have a second bedroom that I ended up turning into my reading room. I don't know why I didn't do this at the last place that I lived in. This was the best decision I ever made because I don't need a guest bedroom. My best friend lives next door. I don't need that. We have all of the books behind me, a couch on that side, a coffee table, a cozy rug, a mirror in the corner. It is the most magical space, especially at night. Thought I would show you guys around, give you guys a little bit of a detailed tour. Joining me today, we have both of my animals who are, well, Finn, who's dead asleep on the floor over here in the corner. And then we have Olive, my cat, who is hanging out in the window and tends to sit there all day. I do have another bookshelf in my bedroom. Not important. I'm not showing you that today. And then I have a bookshelf in the hallway here. It's not really filled, except, oh, wait, that's a lie. I did put my Cassandra Clare books that I bought off Pango Books the other day on there, and they're on the second row. Second row is full. Let me get started in showing you the books I have behind me. I have a little bit of a similar setup to what was going on in my previous home, but in my previous home, as most of you guys know, I just had two bookshelves in my living room, and then I had my third one back in my sunroom. So putting them all together, like all three next to each other, love the way it looks. Up at the top over here, we have Out on a Limb. I have the indie edition of Out on a Limb. That's one of my favorite books. If not, actually, now that I think about it, it is my favorite book by Hannah Bonham Young. And then down below, we have my Brahm books hidden over here. A couple Rachel Gillig books, The Secret History, Babel, If We Were Villains, The Unbecoming of Marriage Wire, which I have still not read. And that flows into this bookshelf here, which is also a little bit of a dark and moody vibe. We have Ninth House, Hellbent, three editions of Ninth House. That's crazy. Actually, I have 3 editions of Hellbent now. Give me 1 second. Someone reached out to me on Instagram and said that they found a mass market paperback version of Hellbent. It's hanging out in the other room, but 3 editions of Hellbent, 3 editions of Ninth House. I have an obsession. Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. Love to see it. Bride, Her Soul to Take. Still need to read Voices in the Snow. I talked about that book a lot at the beginning of this year, and then I just didn't get to it, and then I moved, and then everything in my life has been all over the place. I'll get to it eventually. And then we move on into just some darker books. Up there, above, we have my 2 copies of Immortal Dark, which the second book in the series just got announced and the cover just got announced recently. Can't wait. Can't wait. I will probably listen to the audio version of it because when I read Immortal Dark, I bounced back and forth between the audio version and the physical version. And I will say the audiobook, it didn't necessarily make the book better, but it was a really good experience. I really liked when I was listening to it. And then above it, I have all my books in the Legendborn series. Is it called the Legendborn series? I can never remember series names. First book is Legendborn. I have Legendborn, Bloodmarked, and Oathbound. I actually read Bloodmark back in February when I was starting to move. I couldn't give it the love it deserved. So I'm not going to read Oathbound until I can reread Bloodmarked, which I'll probably try and reread that sometime in the next month. Next to those books, we have In the Company of Witches and When the Crow's Away. Read those books this fall if you have not read them before. Not only do they have the cutest covers in the entire world, the covers are so cute, I had to display them. They feel like a warm hug from a witch who just gave you a hot cup of tea. And then behind it, I have The Kitchen Witchery. I found that at an antique store last year when I was with my brother, and he was like, I think you need that. And I was like, I think I need that. It's so cute. On the top shelf on the other side of it, no books up there. Candles, some pine cones. That picture, which I think I got that from Home Goods or TJ Maxx a long time ago. And then my gnome that my grandma got me. That is technically Halloween themed, but I leave it up all year round. On the shelf below that one, we have this little stack of pink, white, and purple books with a couple little trinkets beside it with my Sony Angel and my Mitski. And then we have my Elsie Silver books. And these bookends are from my grandma, and I just think they're really funny. Moving on over here, we're going a little bit like around, but it's a bookshelf. You can stick with me. It'll be okay. My Mariana Zapata books. My babies, my pride and joys, the loves of my life, all right here. I do have an additional Mariana Zapata book, a second copy of The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. This is a signed edition of The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. And I would like prop it up, like I have All Roads Lead Here propped up, but it's too thick to be propped up. So I just sneak her in right there. An Ember in the Ashes, which I just read in a video for you guys. Loved that book. Once I get the second, third, and fourth book in this series, I'm gonna probably prop them up on the bookshelf that's in the hallway and then just fill this space with another book. But until then, I'm just gonna leave this one right here. I normally don't mind separating book series. I know that's like frowned upon to some people. I really don't care. But if they have cohesive spines, I do want them to be next to each other, and the spines in this series are cohesive. They create a picture on the outside of them, so I will have them all next to each other. We'll cross that bridge when I get the other books. Mindfuck series, The Perfect Marriage, which I still need to read. I still need to read that book. Darker Shade of Magic, Gathering of Shadows, Conjuring of Light. I love this fantasy series. I read this series in February, I think. January into February. So good. It's by V.E. Schwab. It's incredible. Mr. and Mrs. Costa. This is a special edition of My Dark Romeo. It's just really pretty. I like the way that cover looks. Moving on over here, we have the Addicted series next to the Twisted series. I don't think I'm going to continue the Addicted series. I think I've mentioned that before. I just got bored after Thrive because Thrive was the same timeline as, was it Hot House Flower or Kiss the Sky? One of those books. Same timeline, just from a different POV, and that bored me, if I'm being honest with myself. I think at the time that I read it, I gave it generously 3.5 stars or something, but I was bored to death. I don't even know if I would give it that. I didn't need to read everything that had already happened in the previous book, just from a different couple's perspective. I don't know if I'll ever pick the series back up again unless I really feel the need to get another Rose and Connor fix, because Kiss the Sky is a 5-star book for me, is a 6 out of a 5-star book for me. I loved that book. I love Rose and Connor with my entire heart. So TBD on that. We have the Twisted series over here, and then we have my Emily Henry books over here, pretty stacked. I think this is all of them. I might have, oh, I have another copy of Beach Read somewhere. I don't know where it is. Actually, it's my signed edition. Wait, now I'm like kind of freaky. Oh, it's literally right. I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid. I was just overlooking it. It's over there. Taylor, the reason why Taylor and I became friends, and if you don't watch Taylor's videos, you should watch her videos. Over a year ago, probably coming up on 2 years, she DM'd me on Instagram and was like, hey, Emily Henry signed copies of Beach Read near where I live. Do you want me to snag you a copy? I know you love Beach Read. And I said, absolutely, thank you so much. And then she mailed me a signed copy of Beach Read, and we've been friends ever since. Drink break. I'm drinking a cream soda Olipop. I've been really loving Olipop at the moment. I kind of took a break after I drank way too many of the apple crisp ones. I was drinking 1 to 2 a day for a little bit there. I know. I was getting my fiber intake solely from drinking Olipop. That was last November or something. This is my first one probably since November or December. I'm going to get back on my Olipop game, just not drink an obsessive amount of them. Moving on over here, just an array of darker shaded books. I have the Atlas 6, the Atlas Paradox, Divine Rivals. I have a special edition of Air by Zapata here, which this is the author that wrote An Ember in the Ashes. And when I had a Fairy Loot subscription for a little bit there last year, I got this book in my Fairy Loot subscription, and I was like, wow, this is the prettiest special edition, or one of the prettiest special editions I've ever seen. The sprayed edges alone, I'm not the biggest fan of sprayed edges, I won't lie, especially like all the sprayed edges they're doing nowadays in the bookstore. Most of them are really ugly. This is beautiful. And when I saw this, I was like, oh, can I read this without reading her other books? And people recommended that I read An Ember in the Ashes and that series first, because this is apparently set in the same world. I actually don't know anything about this. Now that I think about it, who's this about? Yeah, see, I don't know who these characters are, but it's set in the same world. I will read this once I'm done with that series. We have a Bren Weaver book over here, my Carrie Lake books, or some of my Carrie Lake books. I do also own Nocticadia by Carrie Lake. I don't know where that one is. Somewhere. Oh, it's down over here. We have my first editions of Elsie Silver's Gold Rush Ranch series, Vow of Thieves, Dance of Thieves. I'll reread it sometime this year. I'll reread it sometime this year. I will. My Kate Stewart books. And guess what? On the bottom here with these koi fish and these pretty sprayed edges, that's another Fairy Loot book I didn't read. This is a theme. This is exactly what I was saying in my last bookshelf tour video, which I put out at like the beginning of December, LOL. Just me pointing out my pretty Fairy Loot books that I got and never read. Over on this side, we have all of my, well, not all of them, a lot of my hardbacks, right? We have pretty much all of my Book of the Month books. I think any Book of the Month book that I own is over here. We have this area down on the bottom over here with Phineas, cutie little picture of her that I took when we were doing van life. I love that picture of her. There's like a really random assortment of books on this shelf. Honestly, the whole bottom part, random ass assortment of books. We have The Fake Mate, which is like a Wolfie book. A Wolfie romance, a Megaverse maybe. I don't know. I could be wrong about that. Following Fox, Picking Peaches, Get a Life, Chloe Brown. The other books in the Brown Sister series are somewhere else. I separated them because I didn't like them all put together because it was too many colors going on. You with a View. I need to read that book. I still have not read it. Snowed In, one of my babies. Ace of Spades, which I need to read because I got that book at one of the neighborhood libraries that was in my old neighborhood and I still have not read it. And then we have The Wishing Game, a couple Frida McFadden books over there, a Frida McFadden book over there, a Lucy Folly book, Lisa Jewell, Love Light Farms is over there, which I love, and The God of the Woods, which I need to reread because I DNF'd that book, but everybody I've spoken to that has read that book has said it was one of the best books that they have ever read. I think I need to give it another shot. I probably need to read the physical version that I own. I got that gifted to me last year, and before that book was gifted to me, I used an Audible credit to listen to the book, and I think the audiobook was ruining it. Maybe. I'll give it another shot eventually. Down at the bottom over here, it's just a bunch of different romance books. I think the only book over here that's not romance, oh, there's two, I think. Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell is down there, and then Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. Otherwise, it's just a lot going on. Oh, actually, Take a Hint, Danny Brown, and Act Your Age, Eve Brown are both together down there. I think it was the red from Get a Life, Chloe Brown that was kind of throwing off my bookshelf a little bit. We have a lot of Kelson Denise Stone books down here. I really like the way the shelf looks. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the light blue or like the purple, green, and blue blend and a little bit of orange, but the way this shelf looks specifically, big fan. Shady Hollow is over here. Why have I not read that book yet? I literally bought it last year. I don't know why I haven't read it. It's also so short and sweet. Shark Heart. I am planning to read that book soon, and I am going to be reading it for a reading vlog because I asked some book girlies to pick books for me to read. If you follow Newly Nova, she's one of the girls that I asked to pick a book for me to read for the week. I asked them back in January or February, and then I got caught up moving, so then I never did the video. So I'm going to be filming a book girlies pick the books that I read for the week sometime soon. That's one of the books I'll be reading in the video. Out of the Woods, Unsteady. Oh my gosh, did you guys see the Threads thing where a girl ordered Unsteady on Pango Books and someone sent her some religious like pamphlet with it and said, I'll be praying for you or something? That's crazy. I just saw that on TikTok the other day. That is wild. Shane Rose, love Shane Rose, EJ Blaze. I still need to finish the last two books in that series. And then we have Holly Black. Beartown is over here, which I still have not read. I also haven't read The Great Alone or The Witch's Heart. Oh my gosh, I actually haven't read multiple books over here. Or Wayward or The Nightingale. Down here, there is an empty space down here. I need to find a book to fill that spot. I just haven't yet, so I left it open until I find a book that I feel like goes cohesively there, because every book that I would grab for my other bookshelves and put it there, it was not flowing at all and it just looked weird. Eventually I'll find a book to fit that space. I got a lot of books from a big thrift books order that I did around Christmas time last year. These two books on the end by Rachel Harrison are from that order, as are pretty much like a lot of the books that I haven't read on the shelf. They were just having like a really good deal for Christmas, and I was like, I'll buy some used books and not feel guilty about it. I don't care. Especially when books are my form of decor as well. I don't care. Icebreaker. I still need to read Summer in the City, but I own 2 copies of this. I got an ARC of this book a couple months ago, and I never read it because it was winter time, but it's starting to finally warm up, so hopefully I'll get to this soon. So Let Them Burn is down here, my first edition of So Let Them Burn. I do have the newest paperback edition of So Let Them Burn because I believe it got traditionally published. That is a dragon, Jamaican-inspired fantasy book. There are some sapphic romance elements into the book as well. It was really good. I believe it's just going to be a 2-book series. The second book came out recently. I would like to do a reread of So Let Them Burn before I read the second one because it's been a year since I read the first one. About a year. My brother actually bought me the newest edition of So Let Them Burn, which I'll show you on that shelf in a second. We were in the bookstore a month ago and he was like, do you want a book? I'll buy you a book. And I was like, you're so kind. Thank you so much. My special editions of Bride are down here, an Owl Crate one, and then a Steamy Lit one. The Owl Crate one is my favorite. I love Bride, if you couldn't tell. Look at how pretty this is. I do like the other side of it. Oh, the inside is just, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Maybe I should do a reread of Bride sometime soon. The Steamy Lit edition is just okay. I probably shouldn't have spent $45 on this special edition. That's kind of crazy for that. The Ballad Never After and A Curse for True Love. Do I not own the other book in the series? I swear I do. Wait, why do I only have 2 of them right there? I don't know. I also have not read The Crimson Moth. This is a Fairy Loot book I got last year. Pretty sprayed edges. Haven't read it. I've heard that book has a jaw-dropping ending or something. I've heard really good things about it. I just still haven't gotten to it. Every time I do a bookshelf tour, I'm like, oh guys, I haven't finished the Shatter Me series. Get on that, girl. Get on it. I need to count my books and see how many I haven't read. And I also want to start doing those videos again where I pick a number from a jar and I have to count down through my unread books, and whatever one it lands on, I have to read those. I don't think I have like too many unread books. I keep pointing them out, so it looks like I have a lot. I really have read majority of these books, which is really good, but I would love to start those videos up again so that I could focus on reading the books that I own, because that's always important, and I always need to be doing that. Belladonna and Foxglover over here. I need to get the 3rd book and read the 3rd book. The 3rd book sounds really good and the cover's really pretty. I just haven't gotten it yet. There are a couple books over here that I haven't read, but one specifically that I bought myself when I was in Charlottesville last year. This book. I forgot about it, honestly, until I just saw it right now. And then down here, we have a little bit of pink and purple action going on. The one book that is catching my eye on this shelf that I have not read yet is The Partner Plot. I actually own the audiobook version of that too, because when they were having a really big sale on Audible last year, I bought that book alongside The Neighbor Favor. And I mentioned to you guys, I listened to The Neighbor Favor because of the audio I had. I don't recommend listening to The Neighbor Favor on audio because the main characters, that's the first book in this interconnected series. The 2 main characters send emails back and forth for a big portion of the beginning of the book, and that was really annoying for me. Otherwise, great book. I don't think there's going to be anything in The Partner Plot that is going to be like that that's going to annoy me, so I'll probably end up listening to it, despite me owning it. I bought both of those books at Half Price Books last year for like $3 each, which is a steal. Did you just hear Phineas' snore? Took her for a walk. Girl is zonked. I always get questions about where this bookshelf is from. It is from an antique shop. I'm so sorry. I got it for $50 and it's real wood. This is my pride and joy. And I can't believe I was hesitant about bringing it to this apartment because it fits in this reading room so nicely. It's perfect and I love it. On top of it, I have a plant and my Film for Her book, which is just I don't know if this is technically considered poetry. There's a lot of different things throughout this book, from poetry to life lessons to notes. And it's very much a coffee table book. It has photography in it as well. We have my dragon, my lamp. That was my grandma's that she gave to me. Thank you, Grandma. Up here, propped up, we have So Let Them Burn. This is one of those cases where I don't mind the sprayed edges on the paperback version. Like I was saying, I'm kind of getting like icked out and I don't love all of the sprayed edges they're doing on every single paperback nowadays. The orange works, and this is beautiful. I like the color scheme of this one more than the indie version one. Very pretty, need to do a reread soon. And then next to it, I have my Book of Poisons, which is just like a giant witchy book, and my skeleton, who's reading. I need to put another trinket up here, but I didn't really have anything. I put most of my trinkets on that bookshelf over there, so I'm gonna keep an eye out to find something else to put next to the skeleton. I'm in no rush. Okay, I'm gonna have to like tiptoe around Phineas. You know what? Let me bring you over here because she's blocking the entire path. A Fragile Enchantment. We have it propped up over there. I don't know what happened to the cover of it. We have The Blonde Identity over here, Thirst, Red, White, and Royal Blue, Chloe Lee's book, which I still have not read. I need to read that book. And then it goes into a couple horror books, Stephen King book, A Flicker in the Dark, Cabin at the End of the World. Oh, and in the middle there, Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton, which I love that book. Pretty much all of these books right here were either in my back room at my other house or were in the built-in bookshelves. We have a couple Christmas books in here. The 7-Year Slip is over here. Oh, we actually have a bunch of Christmas books over here. That's funny. Ice Planet Barbarians is over here. The Inheritance Games, which I still have not read. I bought that book for like $2 so long ago because it's a very popular book. So the books are really cheap. And if you buy them secondhand, which I got that at Half Price Books, even cheaper. The skinniest book I have over here is called Crossroads, which I read earlier this year. And I think I'm going to put out a reading wrap up sometime soon just to wrap up all the books I've read this year because I've read almost 30 books. This is one of the books, short and sweet, that I read in February. And it is a very short horror novella. It's really good, but if you read this, please read the trigger warnings. No, it deals so heavily with grief because this mother's son has died and she does everything she can to get in contact with him and potentially bring him back. And when I say everything she can, I mean any and everything she can. It was a little bit batshit, but we love it. I recently saw a couple Hannah Bonham Young books on Pango Books for really cheap, and I had Pango Books, so I bought them. Next of Kin and Next to You. I love both of these books. They are the first ones that I read by her, and they have a special place in my heart, especially Next to You, because the FMC is building out a bus to live in because she's having a little bit of a life crisis. I did that, but I didn't have a hot man to help me like she did. I had my dad. I need to get the rest of the books in the Windy City series. I want them on my shelf. I need to do a book haul sometime and buy books that I've read and loved to have them on my shelf because I want them physically. The only book in I nearly said the Mile High Club. The first book is Mile High. That's why I did that. The only book I have in the Windy City series is Caught Up. I need to get them. I also cannot wait for Rio's book. I need Rio's book now. That's going to be the last book in the Windy City series and I need it. I also recently got Georgia to start the Windy City series. She's on the right move right now. She read Mile High so motherfucking fast, and she's gonna breeze her way through the series. Hi, good morning. Hi. She loves it just as much as I do. Over here, we have Binding 13, Keeping 13, Saving 6, Redeeming 6, which I still have not read Saving 6 and Redeeming 6 because I'm not emotionally well enough for that, nor do I think I will ever be emotionally well enough for that. I still haven't read The Perfect Couple. I feel like that'll be a beach read for me this summer because I think I'm planning a beach trip right now, potentially. I haven't been to the beach in a really, really, really long time. So if those plans actually make it out of the group chat, maybe I will read The Perfect Couple on that because I feel like that's like the perfect beach book. But I also feel that way because the cover of it is literally the beach. I have a Fragile Sanctuary over here. I have 2 copies of that book. The second one is up there. It's a hardcover. I want to read other books in this series because it's a romance book, but it also has like a crime aspect to it as well. And I found that really entertaining. I like when romance books have something else going on alongside the romance, especially crime. It just keeps me a lot more invested. That was my only book I've read by Catherine Cowell. I need to read more by her. And then lastly, over here, very dark, very moody. We just have a bunch of like black books. Nocticadia is over here. My Twilight books are over here. Tender as the Flesh is over there. And then on the bottom here, we have yarn. And what is in here? Miscellaneous things. I have my nail stuff over there when I do my gel nails at home, and a bunch of highlighters and annotation tabs are down over here. I think eventually I'll fill them both with books, and I'll probably move the yarn to another basket, like in some corner in here. And then the stuff in this basket that's like miscellaneous can go in the closet, but I don't have enough books for that yet. And my first priority is filling my bookshelf in the hallway so that can feel full first, because I don't mind that stuff there. And that is my updated bookshelf tour at my new apartment and my new home and my new space. I love the setup in here. I love how everything has turned out. Thank you guys so much for watching this updated bookshelf tour, and I will see you guys next week.
I think I loved you in another life, where I was the